Alors, bonjour, bonsoir, salut à tous. J'espère que vous allez très bien. Alors, aujourd'hui, c'est un nouveau direct, c'est un nouveau live. Et donc, nous allons parler d'un nouveau sujet qui est très important aujourd'hui. Alors, j'espère que tout le monde est là. Si vous êtes là pour la première fois, n'hésitez pas de vous abonner sur ma chaîne YouTube ainsi que mes différents comptes qui sont Facebook et Instagram. Hi, everybody. Hi, all my learners. Hi, all my followers. So, today again, we're coming on live. So, today we have a new topic and an interesting one that we have to talk about it. So, I hope you guys are excited about our today's live, which the topic is just below. But before we get started, I hope you guys have subscribed. If not, make sure you subscribe before we get started here with your French teacher, Marcel. All right, so as you can see below the link, we have a new topic today, which is improve your pronunciation, which is an interesting and important topic that we're going to discuss and talk about it. And you guys gonna be able to improve and know why you need to improve your pronunciation and why it's very important that you guys need to have a good and better and perfect pronunciation. All right, so before we get started, let's wait a few more moments about others to join very quick before we get started here. All right, so let's wait a few more moments before we get started. Don't forget that you have to subscribe before we get started to make sure you don't miss out any of our lesson and any of our live that you will always be attuned to always learn French and improve your French language and your French skills. So today, as you can see below, and I told before, our topic is pronunciation. So how to improve your pronunciation and why we need to improve our pronunciation. So today we have to talk about this in our today's live. Make sure you can share also this live with your friends, with everybody around you to make sure they don't miss out this live today, and make sure also everybody get profit of it and benefit all we're going to discuss about it today, as it's an interesting topic. So you guys need to make sure you have shared this live and make sure everybody's gonna listen and watch and understand what we're going to explain today. So before we get started, pronunciation. So what's come to your mind? First of all, pronunciation. Okay, so pronunciation is the fact or the way in which, all right, a word or a language is spoken. All right. So right now, that's why I keep repeating pronunciation. So what it means? So I have to repeat again pronunciation. So pronunciation is just a word, but need to understand the words and make sure we use it properly. All right. So what is pronunciation? So as I said earlier, pronunciation is the way in which a word or a language is spoken. All right. So from that word, we need to make sure that word is well pronounced and can make properly to others to get that word. So in one word, we need to make sure what we are saying is perfectly said and clear to others. All right. So that's why we have to make sure that our pronunciation in any language we are speaking or talking or learning, we need to make sure our pronunciation is right, perfect, and correct. Then others can easily understand and get what you are saying or what we are talking about. So, pronunciation, as I said, is a way, all right, in which you can make a word or the language sound or the language is spoken or pronounced. All right. So we have to make the sound clear. We have to make everything sound perfect. Then those who are listening to us or those we are talking, or make sure these people or people in front of us communicating with them are able to understand and get clearly what we are saying. So even though those who are learning English or those who are learning other languages, always most important, in any level you are, beginners, intermediate, or advanced, you need to make sure your pronunciation is clear and perfect. So you need to master every word pronunciation and every phrase or sentences pronunciation so we can allow others or people listening to us to get it properly. All right. So why we need to have a proper and perfect pronunciation? So imagine that you are pronouncing a word wrongly. All right. As I said, pronunciation is the way in which a word or a language is spoken. So if you say a word wrongly, of course, is going to have a miscommunication, misunderstanding, which other languages or the person in front of you or listening to you will not be able to understand or get what you are saying. So, to avoid miscommunication or misunderstanding, we need to have a perfect and better pronunciation. So, how we have to work and how we can work and improve our pronunciation. So, that's what we're going to try to talk about, and I'm gonna give few techniques, strategies, and ideas to allow everybody to try to improve and work on their pronunciation. So first of all, in French, okay, as beginners, we're gonna face this challenge. All right, as learning a new language, that language is gonna be your second or third language, so far from your native language. All right, so mostly pronunciation is about sound. All right. So when we talk about pronunciation, we talk about speaking. So before you get a proper or you improve your speaking skills, you need to make sure as well that your pronunciation is also better and perfect. So how to work on the pronunciation better and make it perfect. So as you are a learner, beginner, so make sure you are listening to the right word and the right sound and the right pronunciation. So if you have the right pronunciation, the right sound, obviously you're going to have the right pronunciation. But if you listen to the wrong pronunciation, to the wrong sound, of course you're going to produce the same mistakes. So that's why it's very important and very essential that you need to listen to accurate, all right, to genuine sound, which come generally to native speakers or native learners. All right. So sometimes if you get a teacher who is a native speaker, 100%, you're going to have a better pronunciation and you're going to work perfectly and efficiently in your pronunciation skills. But sometimes you're going to get some teachers who are not maybe native, but sometimes have also a better pronunciation. Unfortunately, some don't. But in this case, you need to make sure to have the right pronunciation, or you need to check on every pronunciation or about every word you are discovering or learning or putting into your vocabulary word. So before that, you need to make sure that word is well pronounced, well said, and you have the clear sound of that specific word that can allow you easily to understand and make the proper reproduction. All right, because the pronunciation is all about what we hear and what we get from our initial listening. All right, for the first time when you hear and listen to a word, you're going to keep the sound and you're going to reproduce. So if you get the sound wrong, obviously your pronunciation is going to be wrong. So that's why basically you need to make sure what you're going to say is right. And also to avoid saying something which sound or means something else in other languages. Those incidents or mistakes happen because we have the wrong pronunciation that we mean to say something but say means something else in other languages. So those are few mistakes that we used to do or it happen often with some learners. So better we need to have a proper teacher, a proper pronunciation that we can give to students, and students need to have the proper pronunciation, and then they can easily reproduce the same pronunciation and make sure when they're going to use is going to sound accurate and mean what it is. Or else, if they get the wrong pronunciation, they're going to use it in the wrong way that is not going to give the right sound and the right pronunciation, and maybe the meaning might be different. So to avoid those things, we need to work on the pronunciation. All right. So first, one of the techniques is to always have, okay, or listen or watch French movies, or proper listen to a native or French sound. Okay, so whatever you listen, you make sure it's really accurate, coming from native speakers, for those who are working on the pronunciation. Unfortunately, some people speak a language but don't take time to work on the pronunciation. Anyway, it means something, it means to others, so we can easily say it's right. But sometimes it's not always right because the pronunciation is wrong. And when you have the pronunciation wrong, of course, the person in front of you, you're trying to to have a conversation, you're trying to explain something, the person might always be saying, actually, I don't understand what you are saying, or I don't get you, because the pronunciation is not accurate, the pronunciation is not right. So, of course, the person is not going to understand or get what you mean or want to explain or say. So, that's what we need to avoid while we are speaking French. So, one of the things that I suggest is always to listen to accurate and listen to French and native speakers. Try to have a native speaker teachers that is going to always say what is right and what the sound looks like and what the sound it is. And one of the things that we notice is, as beginner learners, of course, for the first time you're gonna hear listen to a sound, it's gonna be completely different to your ears and to your mind, because your mind just first time hearing this sound. So basically, it's gonna be very difficult for the ears to understand and try to see or accumulate or understand what the sound like. So sometimes that's why some people, when you say bonjour, au revoir, it sounds a bit funny, and the person might laugh because that's the first time the mind try to understand which sound is this and what does this mean. So that's why, until you make the connection with the sound and the meaning of a word, the person will be fine. But until you don't give the meaning of that sound, and you say bonjour, au revoir, and you say another word, the person will say, but that word means something else in my maybe other language. All right, because some people have their native language, but when you start speaking French, they might say, but what's that sound? Or what that word, but it sounds like another thing in my language, or means something else in other languages, because the pronunciation is not right. So when you have the right pronunciation, of course, straight it's gonna give the right meaning, and what you are saying gonna be correct. So to avoid those misunderstanding and miscommunication, you need to have a perfect and better and correct pronunciation. So try to listen often to genius sound, and try to do some phonetics activities. Try to listen often to people speaking native language, native French, and try to work on different sound in French. All right. So this is one of the things. So you need, the first technique, you need to keep watching or listening to native French song, native French movies, and native teachers. So you need to do those activities practically, continuously. Compare what you learn from others and compare to what others are saying also from different level. Okay. So when I would say maybe bonjour to one of my students who is maybe learner, all right, who is very beginner learner. So when I say bonjour, the person might not, or my student might not get it right. So until the person will be intermediate level, will maybe get to know and get to understand that the pronunciation should be this and not like this. So sometimes when they come to advanced, they will try to understand and get the pronunciation correct. Bonjour. That's why some people you will say bonjour, 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 and sometimes bonjour, bonjour. Okay, because the pronunciation, they got the first pronunciation wrong. Okay, elsewhere. Okay, and now when we try to bring to the right pronunciation, it's going to be difficult because already the mind already mastered and kept the previous and the initial pronunciation. So to try to work on that, you need to continuously repeat the new and correct pronunciation to make sure that the wrong one gets out of your mind and your brain. And then you can easily have the right pronunciation and try to work with and use the right pronunciation often and make your speaking and your communication better with your people in front of you, and your conversation will be extremely perfect. So as we are in formal, we need to be formal, so we need to have also a better and correct pronunciation. Okay, so as communication, we say always communication is how we use words to make others understand what we say. But when we are in academic and we have students and teachers and learners and trainers and teachers, so we need to be extremely formal to make sure everything is extremely formal and everything is perfect. Compare and identify to those who are not working and trying to improve their pronunciation. We feel ourselves much better, far superior and professional and formal compared to others who have the wrong pronunciation and not the accurate one. We can see that's why we can say, oh, you speak very well, you speak very good English, or you speak very good French, because the pronunciation matter, because the pronunciation is perfect, because every word has the right sound and the sound is very accurate. We can easily get what the person is saying, even though he's a learner, but the way the pronunciation is it says or sound, it's make the person understand and get what you're saying correctly, perfectly, and better, and even can make easier the learner to understand what you are saying. Even he never heard that word, but the way you are saying it sounds so beautiful and easy and nice to hear, to keep remembering from our mind. That's why the pronunciation is all everything when we are trying to speak and communicate with others. All right, to avoid having miscommunication and try to avoid to person in front of us, any level the person is, beginner, advanced, intermediate, the person need to be able to understand what we are trying to say or what you are saying. Because sometimes, because of pronunciation issue, some person can say, but actually I don't get right what you are saying. I have a problem of what you're saying or your pronunciation. I cannot get what you are trying to tell me because the pronunciation is wrong. When the pronunciation is wrong, of course, the person will have difficulties to understand and get what you are saying. Okay, now let's move to the second point. So the second point is also as a learner, if your pronunciation is wrong or you are learning from the pronunciation at the beginning, you need to make sure you get all the sound right. Okay, example, bonjour. So here we have two main sounds, bon and jour. So I need to make sure the sound are cleared, the sound are accurate, the sound are genius to people listening to me. So if I say bonjour, the person might not get what was that sound, but I need to make sure that in bonjour we have two different sounds and two main sounds that need to be very clear and understood from the listening or listener or the person in front of me. So I will say bonjour. So for the beginners, bonjour. So the beginner will understand that we have two main sounds. Okay. So bienvenue. So bienvenue. So right now, if you are a beginner, you will not know how to say it because it's a bit long and the sound is very different. Bienvenue. But now I will make it very clear. Bienvenue. Bienvenue. Okay, which means welcome. So bienvenue, we have three main sounds. So while teaching or while learning, you need to make sure that we have three main sounds that need to sound this way. Bienvenue. So in one word, bienvenue. So intermediate people will know that bienvenue means bien come from bien venu. So we have to differentiate, sorry, divide different sound that will allow others to understand the word and to get the word and to not mixed up with another word from another language or from another meaning from anywhere. Because languages are all about sound. So what you are saying might mean something else in other languages or might say something else. So you need to make sure what you're saying is correctly said and explained and clear. Then the person can easily get the word or the phrase correctly. So you need to make sure your sound and pronunciation, your everything sound perfect and genius. All right. And when I will say one sentence, je vais au travail, je vais au travail, je vais au travail. All right. So this is one sentence. So how to make sure the person in front of me will get me correct and right. Okay. So je vais au travail, je vais au travail. So the person might not get it, what I'm saying as a beginner or intermediate. I need to make sure the person in front of me hear je vais au travail. All right. Je vais au travail. So the person will understand that to say je vais au travail, we have je vais au travail. All right. Then it's clear about what I'm saying. Je vais au travail. Je vais au travail. So the person will easily understand what it is or what I was saying because it's clear. Je vais au travail. Je vais au travail. All right. And the words are very clear. And then if I have to divide travail, 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 then it's clear. The person will understand the word I was saying or talking about, and the person will not compare or say something wrong to another thing. So this is the mistake people doing because, as I'm saying, and I keep repeating, languages are only words that we make coming from our mouth. Okay, that mean something. So what I'm saying in French might mean something else if I don't say the correct pronunciation. All right. So I need to make sure my pronunciation is right and mean what I want to talk about. So this is one point. So we need to make sure our pronunciation is right to make sure the person in front of us get what you were saying, and to make sure also we are audible or person listening to us understanding what we are saying. So don't say something just to make you happy, but you need to make sure that the person in front of you will be able to understand and get what you are saying. That's very important because sometimes we speak just to make ourselves feel good and better. And sometimes people in front of us are unable to understand and get what we are saying. And we are surprised at the young person saying, but actually, I heard that you were talking about something else, or I heard this, I didn't hear this, and this wasn't what I meant because the pronunciation was wrong and you didn't say it clearly and accurately. So that's why we need to pay attention to what we say and what we have to discuss and talk to people in front of us. And sometimes we need to make sure, okay, the person in front of us can easily understand our pronunciation unless we make sure to bring the pronunciation right, okay, to the right and perfect sound, then the person will be able to understand. So this is another way you can break down, okay, and divide the different sound and just read it out, okay, and then you will get the perfect sound. Or you need to keep listening to many native music, okay, native movies that you will get the appropriate and correct sound from native speakers. And the third one is to keep practicing on your pronunciation. How that's work? You need to put on audio or some speakers just to keep repeating what it is. All right, you can learn one word and come and type that word how it sound like, and you're going to do that repeating activity. So it's all about again listening. So that's why listening also is very important in our case when we want to improve our pronunciation. So because we pronunciate and we say what we hear and listen. So if we listen wrong and we get wrong a word or a sound, of course, 100% we're going to make also a wrong pronunciation. So we need to make sure we listen to the accurate and to the right and perfect pronunciation. So while listening, we need to make sure that's the perfect one. Then we can easily reproduce or say the same thing in the right and correct way with the accurate sound. All right. So this is one way out of the three ways that I gave right now that you guys can easily try to work on to improve your pronunciation. So the first, I will repeat once again, you need to keep watching mainly native or native movies, native speakers movies and songs from French people or Canadian or any French spoken countries movies that you can easily get the native speakers pronunciation, and then you can easily work on that. The second one is just to try to break down or divide the sound from any word that you are learning. Okay, so that can be easy for you to get the different sound from one word. I give one example. Bonjour. We have two sound. Bon and jour. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. So it will be only bonjour for everyone. All right. Beginners, intermediate, or advanced people can easily understand that I'm saying bonjour. And again, we have another one, bienvenue. So bienvenue. So some people will say bienvenue, bienvenue, bienvenue. So easy. If you didn't get the different sound, you're gonna say something else which is completely different. Bienvenue. Okay, so because I know bienvenue and I got it right, bienvenue. Bienvenue Marcel. Marcel, bienvenue. Okay, so bienvenue, bienvenue, bienvenue. So you need to keep repeating till you get the right pronunciation. And another one, je vais au travail. That's the third sentence I'm giving. Je vais au travail. So here, je vais au travail. So I need to pronounce it correctly. Then the person listening to me or learning from me will easily get what I'm saying or what it is or what are the words I use to make this sentence. Je vais au travail. Je vais au travail. All right. And the third one is to keep repeating some word, okay, from some audio. So what you listen from audio from native speakers, you keep practicing and keep saying the same thing, keep repeating, and the mind and brain will try to understand and keep the main, okay, and the initial sound that will always keep remembering and keep reminding and remain in your mind. All right, because our mind keep repeating what we hear and listen for the first time. So to avoid those mistakes, so let's listen from the first time to the accurate sound and native speakers. Then our brain and mind can easily keep the right one and the correct one. But in case we have the wrong pronunciation, that's not the problem. We can still work on that to improve and to make it better. So that's all those activities you need to keep practicing to get the right ones. All right. And also, it's all about the phonetics. So while learning, okay, in French, you need to master as well the alphabet. Okay. And into the alphabet, we have so many different sounds that we need to understand. All right. Like e, o, u, and those sound, okay, if you have those different sound of the phonetics, you can easily read a word correctly without even trying to listen or be taught from by native speakers, because the sound is clearly genius and accurate that for you you can easily repeat and make your own sentence and make your same word your words sound better and accurate. Okay, so that's also important to work on the phonetics. The phonetics also very very important. So while learning any word or reading a word or phrase, you need to make sure you have the phonetics and you can easily repeat the same thing according to the phonetics, according the word or the sound that the different word are pronounced and sound like. So to avoid that, please, you need to work on the phonetics. You need to work on the listening, because the listening is everything. We listen and we repeat and we reproduce what we listen. So that's why we need to listen to the accurate one and the a good one, or else we'll have to make some mistakes and make some miscommunication, misunderstanding, and some other things. Okay, and which is not actually professional, which is not also formal. So to avoid those things, we need to keep working on our pronunciation to make our speech and our speaking skills better and pronunciation accurate to make sure those people in front of us, whether they are beginners, intermediate, or advanced, they are able to understand what we are saying. All right, IR and ER verbs. Somebody said being. Can you explain us the IR and ER verbs? All right. So today, as our topic is about the pronunciation, we'll keep on these topics today. But next time we might have another lab where we can easily talk about the different verbs, which are regular verbs. Okay. So we have ER, which is the first group, IR second group, and RE the third group. All right. But we're gonna keep that for the next lesson, or we're gonna have another video on this specific topic, which is regular verbs. Okay, so the regular verbs in French, we have three main regular verbs, which are which belong to the first group, IR, which belong to the second group, and RE, which belongs to the third group. All right. So if we have regular verbs, it means we have irregular verbs. Okay. So we'll see that and we talk about this topic next time. Okay. As everybody's here for this specific topic about pronunciation, let's try to work on that today. And next time we're going to talk about the regular verbs, my dear friend Riza. All right. So as I was saying, today our topic is about the pronunciation. So I think we're gonna put an end to our today's live. I hope you guys got something that you can easily try to work on that and improve your pronunciation and make sure your pronunciation is right and make others get you while you are speaking French or while you are listening to a person speaking French. So that's why you need to get the right pronunciation to get the person speaking to you, or you need to have the right pronunciation to make sure when you're speaking to a person, the person will make sure will be able to understand and try to get what you are saying. So that's very important. It's called communication. All right, communication. Communication is when, okay, it's not a one way. Communication is a round way discussion. All right, if I talk to you, you need to talk to me back. All right, so this is what we call communication. Is one way sorry, two ways discussion. All right, am I remember? Yes, I do. Thank you, everybody. So those who are here, make sure you can share the live with your friends and everybody to make sure everybody can get this lesson properly, and then you can work on this pronunciation and this topic, which is very important. As I'm saying, we are learning a language to make sure that will be able to speak that language. So if we speak that language correctly, of course, it's mean we made it and we learn it perfectly. So if your pronunciation is wrong and not audible and people cannot get what you're saying and it is not right, of course, it's mean your learning wasn't perfect and wasn't formal and it's not right. So we need to make sure our pronunciation is perfect and correct and we can be able to understand others speaking to us, talking to us in French, even though we are new, so we can understand. And even though we are new, what we are saying, if it's clearer, others also can understand. That's why sometimes people will say, I didn't get what you are saying because the pronunciation is wrong. And because you also didn't get the right pronunciation, that's why when person speaking the word, you are getting and sound like something else, but actually it's what you all know. All right? So that's the one. Vous êtes un très bon professeur. Merci, Riza. Merci, c'est très gentil. Merci. Sir, it's me, Program. Program, merci. Salut. J'espère que vous allez très bien. All right, so these are a few my students all over the world. So, salut à tous. I greet you all wherever you are, and I hope this topic will be very useful for everybody here. So, please make sure you have to work on your pronunciation and make it better. Alors, c'était un plaisir pour moi de vous partager ce sujet qui est la prononciation. Et donc, comme je le disais tantôt tout à l'heure, il est très important d'avoir une prononciation bien soignée et bien traitée afin que ceux qui vous écoutent ou ceux à qui vous parlez puissent être à mesure de comprendre ou d'entendre mieux ce que vous dites pour que la conversation ou la communication soit très parfaite. Donc, c'est en ce sens que j'ai fait ce sujet aujourd'hui. Et donc, j'espère que ça vous a aidé et j'espère que ça aidera aussi beaucoup de personnes d'entre vous. N'oubliez pas de partager le direct afin que toute personne qui, autour de vous, qui aimera bien sûr apprendre ou améliorer leur niveau en français, puisse être aussi à mesure de bien comprendre l'utilité de mieux soigner ou avoir une prononciation parfaite et puis un niveau de français bien soigné pour une meilleure communication pour n'importe quel type d'apprenant ou d'enseignant en face de vous. Merci, c'était votre professeur Marcel. Et donc, on se retrouvera pour un nouveau direct et à la prochaine fois. Alors, that's it for today. We're going to meet next time for another live on another topic. That's it for today. That was your French teacher, Professor Marcel. It was a great pleasure to be again here with you all. I hope you enjoyed this live and you learned something out of it. And you're gonna make use of it and try to improve your pronunciation to avoid miscommunication and misunderstanding and make sure your French language and your French speaking skill is perfect, accurate, and genius. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Au revoir. À très bientôt. Merci. Bye everyone.